What are your thoughts on remakes of games? Asks Scion via Patreon. I personally have never played a remake that I find is weaker than the original game, and I've played plenty of remakes. We've got the likes of the more recent Resident Evil games, 2, 3, and 4, Shadow of the Colossus, and Demon Souls by Bluepoint. Then, of course, you have something like Final Fantasy VII Remake and then Rebirth now, which push the boundaries even further in that they are basically their own completely new and unique games at this point. I was about to start talking about the Zelda games that have been remade, but really, that's where the lines are a little blurry. Something like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are more so remasters, even though they're HDified. But the thing is, for something like Wind Waker HD, it kind of is a remake in a way because there were substantial differences, like the improvement to the sailing and the Triforce quests. I honestly feel like just about every single game that released on the N64 or PS1 especially, and to a lesser degree the GameCube, Xbox, and PS2, needs a remake. I feel like there is some sort of standard that has only been met within the last 7 or 8 years, that anything before that, to varying degrees, could really use a remake to pull it into that time frame. The way modern games present themselves, the way they control, which is the most important part to me. If you know anything that I do, it's all about the way that a game feels to play. The biggest issue with a lot of games that released between 1995 and like 2007 is that the camera controls are clunky or awkward or non-existent, and it makes it hard to go back and play these games. Not only that, but you have like issues with where games save. Do they have an autosave function? Are they missing things that we've introduced into games in terms of quality of life features, like ease of access of certain things in menus? Do you have to like waste a lot of time going through menus? Or unnecessary traveling in general? Is it monotonous? A lot of games have these issues, and I think a lot of this can be solved by simply remaking them and introducing things that we've learned as an industry over the past decade or so to improve the experience. And I think that the Resident Evil games are great examples of that. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth are a cool way of them not being faithful in terms of what we would normally consider a remake. Not only do they treat the source material with a lot of respect, but they're willing to like keep it sacred, keep it as its own thing, but then be like, here, we're actually going to subvert your expectations and do something different, which I think is awesome. But I think that's totally up to each individual creator's intent with what they want to do. I think it would have been totally cool if they just one for one remade Final Fantasy VII, but I love that they're doing it this way. Either way, it's valid. Obviously, there's an opportunity cost. If you do it one way, you're not going to do it the other way. You're not going to have two remakes coming out simultaneously. I think keeping games updated is great. The only problem with it is the opportunity cost. What is that team not doing? That's the only argument that I find valid. Anyways, I love remakes. Make everything new. Make everything updated. Heck yeah.